Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Once again we're back with our mod highlight series and we've got a fairly new release, Clan Vrrtkin, a faction overhaul from the Minor Clans Rising series. This mod introduces Clan Vrrtkin, a minor Skaven thrall clan of Clan Skryre. Established in the lore as a minor clan, they have tried to rise through the ranks of Skavendom, having their own unique fighting style which mostly focuses around poison wind weapons. Many Skaven from this clan will wield some poison wind weapons in one way, shape or form. These powerful weapons will not just go to the higher echelons, instead they try to be a complete force of destruction, arming even the lowest clan rats if possible. The mod states that it's taking what very little lore this clan actually has into account when stylizing this faction, so let's not waste any more time and check it out. A fresh new campaign will take us to the lands of the Southern Badlands. Here, we are surrounded by various greenskin tribes who may be potential enemies. In fact, the savage orc tribe, that of Topknots, are already at war with us. There are not many Skaven clans near us, barring for example Queekhead Taker and Clan Moors and Clan Vulcan, but geographically you are very much alone, and you are in a tight situation considering that you start with only a level 1 settlement. And seeing as the Savage Orc faction is going after you, you're gonna have to be prepared, especially early on and in higher difficulties where the routing will be a lot more difficult, and you're only gonna be able to recruit Skaven slaves for the first few turns. The typical Skaven faction effects can be found, however the unique one for this faction is quite good and goes as follows. Leadership plus 10 during subterranean intercept battles, only during the interceptions. Research rate plus 10% faction-wide. Chance of intercepting an enemy army using the underway, beast path or world routes by 20% faction-wide. Melee attack plus 5 during subterranean intercept battles. And finally, construction cost minus 60% for weapon dumps, weapon barrows, and arsenal buildings for all regions. As you can see, you're going to get a lot of benefits when doing intercept battles. It's very situational, but this can help, especially if you're fighting dwarfs. It's going to be a rare benefit, but I think even just the basic research rate improvement is just all that you need in all honesty. Your research tree at first glance will look relatively the same, however there is a new branch added in. This branch itself is what serves to unlock a variety of different units. At the start you'll have stuff which is more based around your faction, which is more centered around gas rats, but if you want big monsters like for example rat ogres and hellpit abominations, you're gonna have to go through this. There are also some other extra added benefits from this tree too, including food generation, so it's not like you're going to want to ignore this branch for long, especially since you unlock units and get extra food from it. Your custom legendary lord for this faction is Trickstab Gribnode, a melee/range hybrid lord. His stats prove him to be quite decent in melee combat, considering that he also starts off with 110 armor. His battle and campaign effects also serve to greatly improve your globe-based units, reduced upkeep costs, extra starting ranks, extra armor and melee attack. This is where they can get really potent. His unique special skills not only serve to improve himself, but also the globe-based units and various other units within your army. You can actually get your army to be extremely potent, where you could have a full 20 stack of say Poison Wind Globadiers and they'd be able to hold their own even against higher tier Doom stacks. Think of this character in a similar way to Ikit Claw, but without the mounts and without the magic. He's still able to do quite a lot of damage in range, and you want him in close combat if you can. The character is built to be rather resilient, and it's not like he's gonna get defeated anytime soon, especially with that high armor value. A new hero has been added for this mod, the Master Globadier. With very similar stats to that of your legendary lord, he can be used in a variety of different ways. Now you will see 4 custom skill trees, but don't get overwhelmed. You may only have 2 active at any given time. For example, if you get skills on the first branch, the second would lock, and if you get skills on the third branch, the fourth one would lock. This is a multi-purpose hero. You could choose to make him a ranged powerhouse whilst also improving the capabilities of your own ranged units, or focus around the generic melee tree, change up his ammunition and buff the units with those certain types of ammunition, obviously very centered around any units which use poison wind globes, or even work with a new form of Law of Magic, which is this clan's own interpretation of the Law of Plague. Yes, you'd probably be expecting the Law of Ruin as they are a clan Scryer Thrall clan, however it does make sense for the Law of Plague to be altered in certain ways, as the poison wind globes and so on are those types of weaponry which make use of plagues themselves within those globes as a form of biological weapon. As stated before, this is indeed a multi-purpose hero. How you use your first few skills will be how the character itself will act for the rest of your campaign, or gets killed of course. It is likely that you'll end up recruiting a few of them, at least for your main army. Since they serve a multitude of purposes, you can create your own hybrid character. And since you can fulfill a multitude of purposes with this character, due to the fact that you can have 2 different types of skill trees, it's going to be a staple among your forces. Unit upgrades, which is something very popularly added in through mods for obvious reasons, makes an appearance with this faction. However, it is important to note that not every type of unit is able to get upgraded. I won't go too much on this, but I will note that the upgrades, when specifically focused around those using globe weapons, will change your type of ammunition. So say for example, the Poison Wind Globadiers will actually feel like 4 different units. Their vanilla standard and then 3 different types of ammunition will then make them quite varied and have different uses. And as you can see in your construction tab, everything pretty much looks the same as a standard Skaven faction, barring of course the inclusion of 3 landmarks in the capital of the Southern Badlands. This is because you're still going to get access to the grand majority of the basic Skaven units. The only thing different here is that they've been reworked to follow the aesthetic of Clan Vrrtkin. A few more units have naturally been added in, but there's no specific extra buildings, again barring the landmarks, so you can play your Skaven playthrough with Vrrtkin very similar to how you play your other Skaven factions. Now we're going to take the time to check out all the units added in through this mod. As I stated before, this is going to play very similar to a standard Skaven faction. As the units are here, they've just been reworked to be that of Clan Vrrtkin. Now, it's also important to note that they'll have certain new abilities, like for example, Skaven slaves can basically suicide bomb right into enemies. Whereas many of these new units will also work with some poison-coated weaponry. A special type of poison in a sense, it's magical damage, but it's its own thing. Aesthetically, as you start going to the more baseline units, everything looks great. I like the gas mask approach. It makes this minor clan stand out. For those who don't know, this was a clan established in lore via the Uniforms and Heraldry book, and they really weren't that expanded upon, like many other minor Skaven clans, so it's nice to see modders build their own interpretation with what little lore they have to work from. Now, with all that being said, I found the faction rather enjoyable in all honesty. I thought it was a nice change of pace to be focused around an area which doesn't have the usual mountainous terrain and tries to be as separated from Skaven clans as possible. It's kinda hard to do, especially since so many clans litter the Warhammer fantasy world in the Mortal Empires campaign. Now, in regards to any criticisms, before I do so, we do have to take into account that the modder has already said that a new update is planned for December, where the modder is planning on adding in new units, a second legendary lord, and a lot more. So if anything, I'm just going to offer what my thoughts are currently and not try to dig into it. My only real criticisms with this mod is the fact that you start with a level 1 settlement when surrounded by a savage orc faction. Early on, this could be a bit of a problem for players, especially on harder difficulties, as a level 1 settlement is not going to give you much to defend yourself against a savage orc horde, especially being a minor settlement. If you're playing in harder difficulties such as very hard or legendary, not having any walls or just the basic garrison from a minor settlement will present a lot of problems. And next, the Master Globadier. Yeah, I think it's actually implemented rather well, but I wouldn't see it as a hero character in all honesty. Being a hybrid character which can take a multitude of different specializations, it makes more sense for it to be a lord. Of course, this is my opinion, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about it, but it is quite powerful, and if you can end up recruiting a decent amount of them, well, it's just going to be horrendously overpowered. Though I will say that being able to change its ammunition in the form of a skill is quite entertaining, and being able to just build a bear in a sense with these characters is cool. I like the idea, I really do. I think it has a lot of promise, especially since you can tailor the characters to focus around what you specifically need. You can have it as a ranged powerhouse, but also as a spellcaster, very similar in style to that of a chaos sorcerer. Or you can have it buffing up your ranged units whilst also being a spellcaster, because you'll want to be able to do damage from afar and make sure you can multiply your damage output as much as possible. But with all that being said, I enjoy the mod. It might be because it's another Skaven one, and yes, there is a little bias here, but it's fun to see minor Skaven clans being given their own time in the spotlight through a series of mods. If you'd like to check out this mod for yourself, you can find a direct link in the description below. Please bear in mind that you'll also need to use a faction unlocker mod to be able to actually play this faction. And finally, should you know of any other mods that you'd like to see covered on this channel, you can leave a suggestion in the comments below, or may I suggest joining the official Great Book of Grudges Discord, where it's much easier to get in contact with me. That is also in the description below. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games, where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.